What's up, people? So we're back with another one. I hope you all have been staying safe and staying free and having a good week, ready for this weekend and enjoying that content. Now, this banger of a video that I'm bringing to you all today is all about prison overcrowding and prisoners being sent to police stations to serve their sentence. So let's get into it. So some may know, some may not, as only this week the Ministry of Justice announced that what they're going to be doing is taking prisoners from prison and putting them into police stations to serve their time. That's correct, from prison to police stations, which is absolute madness. Now, the reason why they're saying that they're doing this is to help, with the overcrowding inside of prison, different prisons all over the UK. And until more are being built, as they are being built, this is just a temporary thing. Now, what clicked off into my head first off, to think about taking a prisoner from prison and putting them into a police station just doesn't make sense. And you got to make it make sense, though, as if you have ever had the pleasure of going to a police station, and if you had the pleasure of not going, then going to a police station is just, a bed and a toilet, though. So to take a prisoner out of prison that has a bed, a toilet, a TV, and is able to do education and jobs and all of these other things, how are they meant to do all of those things at a police station? This is just mad, man. They gotta make it make sense. And this is true. I think it's going to be a true experiment, as they don't know how this is going to play out. And then on top of it, they're going to be holding prisoners in a police station along with other members of the public that are just coming in off the street, that maybe not even going to prison, though. Hey, no, that's crazy. Now, what about rec time too? So in a sense, is this a way of an inhumane way of, making prisoners to do their time? As yes, when you go to prison, it's not for the luxuries of TVs and educations and jobs and this and that and the third, but at the same time, it is a human right for a human being to have those basic things. Now, with this being said, as I've said before on TikTok, if those that do follow me, and if you don't, I'm gonna say it again, is that you all know, in the whole 3-4 years I've been on this app and other apps, I don't ever scream free anyone, none of the ex-gang members, not even Big Bro that's serving 36 years. I only say free the IPPs, though, as just an idea for the government, right? They truly and really, have messed up, as there's other alternatives that they could have done. Yes, last year they were releasing prisoners from prison that wasn't in for a major crime like sexual assaults and this and that and the third, to free up spaces. Now, what about the IPPs that have been in there from back 2004-5 right up still to this day? There's people that's inside a prison on an IPP sentence for theft, robbery, the smallest of charges, right? And they have been sentenced and they have served their time, but they're still stuck inside of prison. Which, now looking back into, I've had my experience of going to prison myself, unfortunately, this is a money making scheme. As if a man has served their time, time served. No, let them back into the public. Now, this IPP stuff, for those that don't know, that might be a 2000 baby or have never heard of it, it was a thing that was introduced by the government back in the late 2000s. And what it was supposed to do was to stop crime, but major crime. And what they ended up doing was the complete opposite. Anyone back in early to late 2000s that was unlucky enough to get the IPP sentence at court by a judge, it didn't have to be for murder, it didn't have to be for manslaughter, it could be for theft of a phone, going into a shop, stealing food, and there's people still locked up to this day. Why not release them back into society as they have served their time, than to be moving people from prison to police stations? Now, with this being said, they are saying that this is all a temporary thing, as they are currently building, I think it's called Suffolk Mills nearby York, they're saying, and until this new prison is built this year and it's finished, but once this prison is finished, they're saying that it's going to be able to hold the capacity up to 800 to 1500 mils, though. Now, that's only 15 to 800 mils out of 100,000 prisoners that are overcrowded in the system, though. Now, another thing that I want to make as a point, as being an ex-con myself, is that they're making money. These prisons in Britain, HMPs, the majority of them, like Serco and all of these other private sectors of companies, they get paid over £30,000 per prisoner. So when you start doing the maths to how many prisoners that are locked up inside of prison, that's a lot of money that these private prison companies are getting paid to facilitate people. Now, remember this: when you're inside a prison, they pay you like £2 a day, £1.50, whatever, unless you're doing the cleaning, the biohazard cleaning. But you know, this is a scheme to where's the money going? Because there's a lot of money being spent, given to people, but then at the same time they can't build more prisons. It's just wild, man. Now, I don't think this is gonna work whatsoever, as like I said, a police cell is not facilitated, or should I say it's not suitable for a person. But this is what clicked into my head: the only people that they would be putting into these police station cells to serve their prison time, right? And True Life talks this, would be the man that are in solitary confinement. Now, what solitary confinement is, most men call it the block, where you're just in a cell with a bed and a toilet and just four walls and a window usually. But depending what prison you're in, there's no window. But with this here is when it clicked into my head to say, yes, this is what they're going to do. They're going to take all of the man that's in solitary confinement in prisons and move them into the police stations. Then that gives them more space to put more people into the spaces where they were. And it's only until you actually think about it, it does make sense. But they haven't said this, but it just kind of, you know, made sense to me, as you're going to take someone from off the streets that's just been sent to prison, then to go to a police station just to a bed and, you know, a toilet that doesn't even have the facilities for you to wash your hands. Now, I understand when you go to prison is not meant to be luxurious, you know, it's meant to be a punishment. But at the same time, the whole point of sending an individual to prison and a prisoner being inside is for them to answer to the, you know, the crimes, the actions to the crimes that led them in there. But at the same time, it's rehabilitation, though, as it's no point sending someone to prison just to go and sit inside a prison and have more associates and contacts in the illegal world than what they did before they even went to prison. You know, it's like, you got to make prisoners go to prison to serve their time and get rehabilitated, so when they then come back out into society, they're not in a repetitive cycle. But definitely 100%, I do believe that they're going to be sending all of the man in down at the block straight down to these places. As I thought, okay, if they're not going to do that, they're going to put TVs in there and stuff. Now imagine how they're going to put TVs and electrical plug sockets into a cell. They can't, so it's going to be extension leads. This is definitely not going to work, man. It's madness. Now, with this being said, with this IPP thing, they had abolished it about, it was about 2011 2010 late, that they actually abolished the IPP sentence. And I have dropped a video on about the IPP, so if you are looking for more information about the IPPs, then make sure you type it in. It's right there in the playlist. Now, I truly really do believe, let me rephrase that again, I've been tired, I've been up from 6 o'clock with my business, you know, that with the IPPs, if they were to release all of the IPPs, yeah, that's not in there for murder and this and that and the third, that it would actually release more space than what they need, though. because now they're saying that there's 100,000 people more inside the prisons. When I was in prison, there was 2 man to 1 cell, and in Belmarsh, my brother was saying, and certain other prisons like H&P, Highdown, and Wandsworth, you can even get 3 man to 1 cell. Now, what I have seen inside a prison to make more space was in my second prison. What they were doing was taking single cells, which is meant for one person, and sticking 2 man in there, though. That's what they were doing. And with the double cells, they would maybe put 3 man in there, but depending, on the situation. But to make more space, it gives them an extra body in the single cells, though. So just to let you all know that thought as well, as I do remember that. But it just goes to show you how broken our government and society is, though, because we're giving millions and billions and trillions of pounds to all of these other countries fighting different causes and looking after other different people and shit, and we should be looking after Britain and the British people and home, though, where we are. And that just goes to show that, what kind of broken, fucked up society that we're living in, to where prisoners are being sent to police stations. Build more prisons. It's that simple, right? There's nothing more, nothing less to it. But it is a money making scheme, and not all prisons are privately ran by private companies like Serco. There is a lot of prisons in the UK that are run by the government, but at the same time, when they're paying all of these private companies money to facilitate, man, they could be building prisons and creating more jobs and spaces, though. And that's true life talks. So I hope you all have enjoyed the video. Do drop your comments and your thoughts on the situation, to what you think about it. Do stay safe, everyone, and I'll catch you on the next one, and stay free.